Power Origins Season 1, and what just leaked out of Starz headquarters is about to change everything you thought you knew about how Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan really became who they are. This isn't a rumor. This isn't fan speculation dressed up as news. Starz just confirmed it, and the details are darker, bigger, and more emotional than anyone expected. 18 episodes, 3 future legends, 1 city that's about to eat them alive. And by the time this video ends, you're going to understand exactly why this prequel might be the most important chapter in the entire Power universe. Let's start with the number that should stop you in your tracks. 18 episodes. Every single spin-off in this franchise so far, Ghost, Raising Kanan, Force, they all ran on a standard 10-episode season. Power Origins just broke that pattern completely, and that's not a small production decision. That's Starz telling you something. When a network doubles down on episode count like that, it means they're not just introducing characters, they're building a world. They're giving Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan room to breathe, to grow, to make mistakes, and to become the men we already fear and admire in the original series. This isn't a quick origin story crammed into a few hours. This is a slow, deliberate unraveling of how 3 teenagers from New York turned into the most dangerous names in the game. And the setting matters just as much as the runtime. Power Origins is dropping us right into the late 90s and early 2000s, the exact era where the seeds of everything were planted. If you watched the ending of Raising Kanan, you already caught the moment that changes everything. Young Tommy and young Ghost, barely out of their teens, walking up to Kanan and asking to work with him. Kanan turned them away. That single scene is the doorway into this entire series, and it tells us something crucial. Whatever alliance we know from the original Power show, it didn't start smooth. It started with rejection, with 2 hungry kids being told no by the one man who could have changed their path early. Now here's where it gets emotional, because the show isn't just picking up right where Raising Kanan left off. There's a time jump coming, and that time jump is going to reveal a Kanan we haven't fully met yet. Not the impulsive, reckless young man from Raising Kanan, but a colder, sharper operator who's already been hardened by the streets. Meanwhile, Ghost and Tommy aren't just going to show up as fully formed hustlers either. We're going to watch them claw their way up from nothing, likely through flashbacks and stories they tell each other, piecing together how 2 broke kids from Queens turned themselves into something Kanan couldn't ignore anymore. And that's the real emotional core of this series. It's not about power that was handed down. It's about power that was earned, fought for, and paid for in ways we haven't seen yet. The casting alone should give you chills if you followed this franchise for any length of time. Mekhi Curtis is returning as Kanan, the role he's already made iconic in Raising Kanan. Stepping into Ghost is Spence Moore, and taking on young Tommy is Charlie Mann. 2 newcomers who are about to carry one of the most beloved friendships in television history on their shoulders. That's an enormous responsibility. The chemistry between Ghost and Tommy isn't just a plot point in this universe. It's the emotional backbone of everything Power has ever built. If these 2 actors can't sell that bond, the entire series falls apart. But everything coming out of production suggests Starz is confident they found exactly the right pair. And it doesn't stop there. Jason Durden is returning, reprising his Raising Kanan role, which immediately tells us this world is more connected than a simple spin-off. This is a direct continuation of everything Kanan's story already built. Jennifer Farren has been cast as Tommy's mother, Kate Egan, described as manipulative and desperate, someone who's going to shape exactly why Tommy becomes the man he does. Zuri Reed has been cast as a young Tasha, which means this series isn't only about Ghost and Tommy's rise. It's setting up the relationships, the loyalties, and the betrayals that are going to define the entire Power timeline for years to come. And on top of all of that, Dominic Raines has joined as a detective caught in the middle of a controversial NYPD investigation, which tells us law enforcement is going to be circling this world from the very beginning, long before Ghost and Tommy ever become the names cops fear. Every piece Starz has released so far is pointing toward the same conclusion. This isn't a side story. This is the foundation the entire Power universe was built on, and it's finally being told. Now let's talk about the moment that actually started this entire wave of anticipation. The post-credits scene at the very end of Raising Kanan's series finale. Sascha Penn, the man who created both Raising Kanan and Power Origins, has now confirmed exactly why that scene existed, and it changes how you should be watching this whole franchise. He explained that the idea of showing young Tommy and young Ghost was always part of the plan, But their appearance had to wait because in the Power timeline, teenagers that young simply weren't in the game yet. He called it something he wanted as a gift for longtime fans. A quiet nod before the real story begins. That single choice tells you this entire universe is being built with intention. Nothing is random. Every character, every timeline, every connection is engineered to reward the people who've been paying attention since the very first season of Power. And here's where the emotional stakes really start climbing. Penn has now confirmed that Power Origins is set specifically around 2002 and 2003, which places this story in a very particular window, after the events of Raising Kanan, but years before the Ghost and Tommy we meet in the original Power series. That gap matters. It means we are about to witness the exact transformation period where two ambitious, still innocent young men start turning into the calculating operators the entire franchise was built around. And standing right in the middle of that transformation is Kanan Stark, now older, colder, and according to Penn himself, closer to the ruthless version fans first met years ago in the original Power, rather than the more layered, sympathetic young man audiences grew to understand across Raising Kanan. But here's the twist that's catching people off guard. Despite everything that's coming, Penn has openly admitted that Power Origins is going to feel tonally different from anything this franchise has done before. He described it as faster, lighter in places, and pulled comparisons to buddy classics built on friendship and hustle rather than pure darkness. That doesn't mean the show is losing its edge. Penn was clear that danger, violence, and consequence are still very much present. But for the first time in this universe, we're going to watch Ghost and Tommy's rise through a lens of genuine brotherhood and ambition, before the weight of everything they'll eventually lose starts crushing that bond. That contrast, watching two guys who are still, in some ways, just kids chasing a dream, knowing exactly how dark their future becomes, is exactly the kind of dramatic irony that's going to make this show hit differently. Production has also wrapped on all 18 episodes, which means Power Origins is no longer a distant promise. It's finished, it's in post-production, and Starz is actively building toward release. That also means the cast additions we've learned about aren't just names on a call sheet. They're confirmed pieces of a story that's already been filmed and locked in. Jason Durden is returning from Raising Kanan, immediately tying this new series directly into everything that world already built, rather than starting from scratch. Jennifer Farren has been cast as Tommy's mother, Kate Egan, described as someone who is emotionally volatile and deeply entangled in addiction, which tells us Tommy's home life is about to become a major emotional thread in this series, one that likely explains exactly why he becomes so fiercely loyal and so dangerously unpredictable later in life. And Zuri Reed has been cast as a young version of Tasha, the woman who becomes central to Ghost's entire future, meaning the roots of that relationship, and everything it eventually costs him, are being planted right here in this prequel. Then there's Dominic Raines, cast as a detective pulled into a controversial internal NYPD investigation. Law enforcement circling this world from day one is not a small detail. It tells us that even in these early years before Ghost and Tommy are household names in the streets, someone in a badge is already watching, already suspicious, already building toward the kind of pressure that eventually defines every major arc in this franchise. Combine that with the fact that Power Legacy has already been greenlit to continue this universe on the other side of the timeline, and it becomes clear this isn't just one prequel series. This is 50 Cent and Starz building an entire connected saga, stretching from the earliest days of these characters all the way to their final consequences and Power Origins might be the piece that finally ties every single loose thread together. So where does that leave us right now, in this exact moment? The teaser for Power Origins finally dropped, giving fans their very first real look at Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan sharing the screen together, and it did exactly what a great teaser is supposed to do. It didn't explain everything, it just gave us enough to start connecting the dots ourselves. In that brief footage, Ghost tells Tommy they came to touch the sky, and they're not settling for anything less. That single line, short as it is, lays out the entire thesis of this series. This is a story about two young men who refuse to accept the life they were born into, who are willing to risk everything to become something bigger than the streets ever expected them to be. It's ambition, it's swagger, it's brotherhood, all wrapped up before the world turns them into the cold, calculated operators we already know they become. And that's what makes this prequel so emotionally loaded. We already know how this story ends for these characters. We've watched Ghost's empire, Tommy's rage, Kanan's downfall play out across years of this franchise. So watching them here, young, hopeful, still believing loyalty means something, still believing family can't be broken, isn't just entertaining, it's heartbreaking in the best possible way. Every scene is going to carry weight because we know what's coming for them, even when they don't. That's the kind of storytelling that turns a simple prequel into something audiences genuinely feel in their chest. As for when we actually get to watch it all unfold, Starz has confirmed that filming wrapped after production took place across New York and New Jersey, and the series is now deep into post-production, meaning editing, sound, music, and final touches are actively being locked in. There is still no official premiere date announced, but with all 18 episodes finished and a teaser already out in the world, momentum is clearly building toward a release. Every network typically follows this pattern: teaser first, followed by a full trailer, and then a premiere date announcement not far behind. Given where Power Origins currently sits in that pipeline, a 2026 release is looking more and more likely, and honestly, based on everything we now know about the story, the cast, and the emotional weight this series is carrying, it can't come soon enough. What makes this moment special isn't just the excitement of a new show. It's the fact that this franchise, built over more than a decade, is finally circling back to its very beginning. We're about to watch the friendship that started everything, the mistakes that shaped everyone, and the choices that turned three ordinary young men from New York into legends the entire streaming world can't stop talking about. Power Origins isn't just filling in blanks. It's giving us the emotional truth behind every decision Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan ever made. And once you understand where they came from, you're never going to watch the original series the same way again.